Tribe, fam, soldiers. We're back in the building. This is your girl Dre with
Renee, how is everybody?
what's going on. So we're gonna take a brief pause and to get our notes together. So we'll be right back.
Hey family, it's Renee. Are you guys looking to learn firearm safety or do you want to just get in shape with you and 9 of your friends? If so, make sure you get it from BodyBioTactical.com. Let him and his team get you into fighting shape. Not only is it affordable, he comes to you. Again, that is BodyBioTactical.com. Hey guys, it's Renee. I wanted to let you guys in on the best kept secret in fragrance. If you're about supporting black business and smelling good while you're doing it, make sure you hit up Pulse Point Coven Oils on Etsy or on Instagram. That's Pulse Point Coven Oils. Pulse POINT period COVEN OILS. That's Pulse Point Coven Oils.
All right. Nay, what's the topic? Like what's popping in the streets this week?
Well,
What's the topic?
for episode 12, we're going to be talking about, toxic masculinity and dispelling the myth of the strong black woman.
Ooh. So everyone take a pause. Let's get grounded. Because this is a deep topic because people love to throw toxic they love to say toxic masculinity. Then on the other side, we love to be like, well, I'm this strong black woman, I could do whatever. And that's even toxic within itself, right?
Yeah.
So let's just get into it. So when did this whole toxic masculinity like arrive? Like when did it arrive on the scene? Because I feel like this is such another buzzword, right? That we hear all the time, and especially when women, not all women, but a lot of women who's rooted in this feminist ideology don't get their way with something or with a man, or just to quote unquote, keep the man down. So let's talk about where did this whole term come from.
Honestly, I didn't really start hearing the term toxic masculinity as much as I do now until that article came out last year, written by that little moist black dude talking about straight black men are the white men of black society.
So the dude that was from, was it the guy from, what's the average? What, I can't even think of the dude. What's the name of that blog they came out with? Was it him?
Yeah, I think he wrote it, but I can't think of the name of that blog right now.
Me neither. Me neither. But it was through the root, wasn't it? The root.
Yeah, those little West Indian black people, non-ADOS, come over here and they like to separate themselves. So
Lord have mercy. So yeah, so you guys go check out the root. So the guy actually wrote this weird, like as Nate said, saying, "Oh, you guys are toxic." So pretty much ADOS, foundational Black Americans. That's why I took from it. Are toxic. And I heard the term about like 2 years ago because I remember I was brought in by one of my guys. This when I was still living on the East Coast, and he said, "Hey, Dre, can you come in and do a workshop for my young black men?" And he's like, "I want to talk. I want you to tell them about masculinity." And me, I give y'all a big background. So I'm the only girl. So I have older brothers. Have my dad in my life. My mom is the only girl, which is ironic. So we're surrounded by like masculine energy, right? And I don't remember in my household this whole toxic because my mom and my dad did not play that about gender roles or hey, this is designated for the boys, like washing dishes, like everybody was getting it equally. So this whole toxic masculinity is new to me because, like I said, me growing up in a masculine energy in a masculine dominated household, I didn't remember seeing anything quote unquote toxic. Growing up as a teenager, the whole me growing up in Boston. Okay, let's be honest. You're gonna hear the yo, what's up, Ma? What's up, Shorty? I didn't think anything was toxic or that. I'm like, oh, the dude wants to holler at me.
right,
I'm
right.
not like, okay, now if you like, yo, bitch, all this other stuff, okay, then I have a problem. But even that, what's up, Ma, is toxic masculinity. And I don't see the sexualization in that. Maybe because I don't know. I'm kind of like normal in my thinking when it comes to if someone wants to court you. But that's even considered patriarchal, sexually aggressive, and that's considered toxic masculinity. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, it's that whole street harassment thing, that whole what was that hashtag you okay sis? That was that really had nothing to do with white males. And that's what I want to talk about, how quote unquote toxic masculinity is only being targeted towards black males because black males are seen as more sexual and more aggressive. So if a black man comes up to a white woman, yo, what's good, ma? Of course she's going to feel threatened, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. So like I never felt threatened when a dude said that to me. And like I said, growing up in the city, I never felt that. But I want to read this real quick. The definition that I came across, toxic masculinity. It says toxic masculinity, a social science, now we're social scientists, term
Uh,
that describes narrow repressive types of ideas about the male gender role that defines masculinity as exaggerated masculine traits like being violent, unemotional, sexually aggressive, and so forth. Also suggests that men who act too emotional or maybe aren't violent enough or do not or don't do all the things that quote unquote real men do can get their man card taken. So they said like interactions between women and men always have to be competitive, not cooperative. That's toxic masculinity. Men can never truly understand women, and that men and women can never just be friends. That's toxic masculinity. Let me throw one more in here, which is kind of interesting. The idea that any interest in a range of things are strictly considered feminine will be as a emasculation of a guy.
hmm, that's deep.
Hmm.
Um, wow, like I'm really just trying to soak that in, but I really don't understand how it's okay for, you got these white males in Hollywood practicing toxic masculinity. You got Charlie Sheen with HIV since the 80s, and he's still out here banging anything that'll let him. And that's not toxic masculinity.
Right, exactly. And if you look at that, as May said, to me, that's talking toxic masculinity, and they love to use the F word, not fuck, but faggot.
Yeah.
Anything that's sexually abuse, that's abusive terms towards those who are in the LGBTQ community. That's not looked at as toxic masculinity. But when a guy says, "Hey yo, ma," or "Hey yo, shorty," that's toxic masculinity. So you see how it transitions is like fluid into for like black men, and how it excludes white men and other men as well. And then the whole, now I do have a problem with, if a little boy cry and they're like, oh, shut the F up and get the F up, you're supposed to be a man. I do have a problem with that. But that's even included as toxic masculinity because we're all human beings. We all was created, whether you believe in God, Allah, whoever, with emotion. So yeah, we're gonna cry, if we feel hurt, we feel anger, and when we do suppress that, when we do turn it inwardly, that becomes another issue for us with maybe developing a mental illness, whatever the case is. But people don't think about that. They just like that's just toxic, and it's never labeled towards white men.
Exactly. The thing is, what did we talk about a few weeks ago with social engineering? I think, in my opinion, I always say this, my opinion, I could be wrong. I was miseducated by a system of white supremacy. But I feel that with all this emphasis on toxic masculinity, I think that that's like trying to socially engineer a, a generation of black men who are hyper effeminate.
Right.
And you can't take the warrior out of a society and expect the women and children to be okay.
Exactly, exactly. But a lot of times too, when we see more of the toxic masculinity, like I said earlier, it's because quote unquote you had, and let's talk about it. Let's transition to that. You have violated a white woman,
Hmm.
and then sisters, us, we catch on to it because we have to cape. We got to cape for the white woman, right?
Right.
And we don't want to see her tears. She's so fragile, but in turn, she's not because she's very fierce. She's very domineering, very aggressive because they want to be the white man. And so when we hear, well, me too, sis, that's toxic masculinity, we don't have no clue what we're talking about because maybe a dude checked you, and guess what, sis, you can be checked too. And I think a lot of times we forget that we can be checked. And checking, when I mean we could be held accountable and responsible for our actions. And a lot of times we see toxic behavior in women, like, like I tell my friends, and they know I don't call my friends bitches, and they don't call me bitches. But I see a whole culture of that, and then it's like that's not toxic for women, or for black females. It's like you can't say anything to black females because how dare you? We're gonna talk about how toxic these dudes are, and that's why you see a lot of these gender divisions, especially the black man versus the black woman.
Exactly, because when we're sitting here locking horns with each other, that gives the white supremacists ample opportunity to come in and spread confusion.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
I want
Exactly.
to talk about something that happened, I want to say about a year ago.
Mhm.
It was like when Genuine was on Celebrity Big Brother and he refused to kiss a transgendered individual
Yes, I remember that.
and he got labeled as, being toxic masculine. And I just want to know, like, why is he toxic masculine for wanting control over his body?
Right. So we always screaming things, things, Nay. We always screaming we want agency, right?
Right.
So black men, so let's just put black men. So black men can't have agency over their bodies. And what's wrong with him saying, yo, I don't get down that way because he's secure. So let's talk about security. He's secure in his body. He's secure with his sexuality since people love to throw sexuality out there. How is that toxic for him to say, yo, this is my boundary. I don't get down like that? See, we have to stop being so hyper sensitive, and we live in this world in which everything is such a sensitivity issue, and to the point you have to really censor yourself when it comes to having agency over your own damn body. And I don't see if that was a problem. And people made this big deal like, oh my God, Genuine is like toxic masculinity. And then all of a sudden, we're not going to be caping for him. Like, we're canceling Genuine.
Right. And it's like, to me, like, that just seemed like buck breaking on a grand stage, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really like what it was. Oh, you don't want to kiss me, so you're homophobic. No, he's just a heterosexual black male.
Right. Exactly. But that goes to show that people don't process anything anymore, and they're quick to label folks as homophobic instead of saying, yo, that's his preference. What happens to having a preference? Like, it's like you can't have a preference. You have to like what the masses like, going back to social engineering. No, I don't. I know what my preference is. Just like people have a preference over, what type of food they like. But you're not gonna say, "Oh, you hate food. You're a hater of food because you only like collard greens cooked this way." It's like something so basic and so stupid. Um, to us, to me, is basic. To other people, they complicate it because they want to force this agenda onto us. And I'm not down with that. I'm not down with like, oh, this person is toxic masculinity. If that's the case, then we have to also be labeling white men because they're the founders of it. I'm sorry.
Exactly. And we also have to, be labeling black women because there is toxic femininity.
Let's talk about that real quick because I'm seeing so many toxic black femininity and feminists, right? Especially folks that I went to school with, folks that I just know, period. And here's the thing, and I know people gonna get upset. I'm gonna put it out there. I noticed this transition, especially when folks, especially black women, become single mothers. Sis, you know what type of dude he was before you got with him. Let's
Yes.
keep it honest. Dudes tell us, people tell us who they are. Whether it's a good day, a bad day, all of a sudden you want to get this attitude turn. He's a toxic masculine because he left me with this kid. I don't know your full story, but sis, you knew what type of dude he was. So let's talk about agency over the body. You have agency over your body, whether or not you want the dude to have unprotected sex or not. You
Yeah.
have agency on what you want to do, whether you want to procreate a child or not. And it's not being this, I'm not having like this conservative pound cake speech, but I'm calling out my sisters on this because we get so, oh, this dude did this to me. Sis, it was consensual sex. Did
Yeah.
he rape you? Did he rape you? And like a lot of women get mad at me when I say that. You knew what type of dude he was when he slid up in there, and then it's like, oh, the relationship didn't work. It's like, did y'all have a conversation? Like, yo, are we gonna have this relationship? Where is this going? And I think so many times in this society, we don't have those conversations. Like, yo, where's this relationship going? Um, you know, this is what I'm not about to be down with. I mean, like every dude I dated, they could tell you, all my exes, even up to my husband. I have so many questions lined up. They'll be like, damn, I can't deal with this chick. Because I'm like, you're not about to have me out here somebody's baby's mom. Like, I'm a queen. I'm gonna be a wife. If you can't be down with that, I'm sorry, cause I'm not about to be out here as a stat. And I always say like my family put too much like support, love, and resources into me to not be left out. Not see if the dude he got injured, whatever the case is, but I'm not gonna be out here like this dude's toxic masculinity, especially if I knew what type of guy he is. Just have to throw that out there. That was just my little rant for the day.
Right. And, I want to talk about another kind of toxicity. So let's talk about toxic homosexuality.
Mm.
I just want to say Jesse Smollett, however you say his name, like, is what he did an action of toxic homosexuality?
Yes, I believe so because I mean, he just pretty much okay. And let's keep it honest too. His dad is what Jewish, mom is black. See, people don't know that too.
Yeah.
So he was able to navigate a lot of spaces that we're not was is not able to navigate. And look who he got. He had got what, two Nigerian dudes like
Yep.
paying him off. Okay, so he's thinking, oh, I can like pet them, and they could be my pets, and they're not going to snitch on me. And he's a big toxic gay man.
I'm sorry.
That worked for another toxic gay man, Lee Daniels. That's
Let's talk
why
about.
shit went to. That's why shit went to shit for both of them.
Lee Daniels hates black women.
He
I'm gonna say
do.
it. He hates black women because if I watched I watched Precious twice in my life. One time, at first initially I thought it was a horror movie. When I first saw the poster, I thought it was gonna be a horror movie, and then the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh my god!" It
Yes,
couldn't. And then the second time I watched it, I knew what I was expecting, so I was just watching it critically, and this was just generations of dysfunction.
yes.
And then, I was like, God, who hurt you? You know?
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? If you ever read the book is called Push
Yeah.
by Sapphire. The book, it depicts, it's kind of in alignment of the story of the movie, but read the book. Read the book. It's very heartbreaking. But like you said, Lee Daniels, bruh, who hurt you?
Oof, because I don't know. And he did another film called Shadow Boxer. And that movie is demonic. Like, straight up. He got Cuba Gooding Jr. in there. He's this big old buck broken black male who's an assassin. He's wearing dresses getting done by white men in a hotel.
Mm-mm.
Yes, sex in a graveyard underneath a neon cross. It's crazy. Macy Gray in there. She playing a crackhead named Precious, ironically.
Oh God.
Yeah, that movie is terrible. Like Charles Barkley say, terrible.
Lord have mercy. But yeah, you have that. That's definitely toxic masculinity
Yep.
on the, homosexual side. And a lot of times we don't talk about that because once again, that's going back to being quote unquote sensitive. And that's like a topic you don't venture to. But we can't, always have these boundaries. If they always want to say, oh, heterosexual black men are toxic masculinity, no, it's across the board. So I feel like anybody can get it when it comes to toxicity. But yeah, Lee Daniels, whew, Lord have mercy.
Oh my God. And then I noticed that like when it comes to yelling toxic masculinity, uh a lot of these black feminists are the forefront of it.
They are. And then okay, thank you for saying that. They are because who are raising these toxic masculine dudes? Who are raising them?
There are single black mothers who are sitting up here and they're just like, yo daddy, he ain't shit, so I'm gonna raise you to not be like him, but you're not gonna be able to function as a man in society because you're only getting one side of how to exist.
Exactly. And then when we keep hearing that, and once again, what I said before, he ain't shit, but sis, you also laid down with him. So what is that saying about you?
Mm. I
So,
want, what I want to get into?
mm-hmm.
I want to get into the myth of the strong black woman.
That's what you know what you did a good segue. I like how you did that. Listen, okay, let's talk about this. Let's have this powwow real quick. Have you
Because
been told in your life that you've been a strong black woman or you have to be a strong black woman and you don't need no man?
yes, yes, I have. Man, let me tell you, I have heard that all throughout life. And you know what? White women they come and they say it real softly to you. You're so strong. You're and then you start hearing it. You hear multiple of these white women. They come up to you and they whisper, "You're so strong. You're such a strong black woman." And then you're like, "Yeah, I am a strong black woman. You don't need no man, do you? You right. I raised my kids on my own. You sure do. You sure do." And then next thing you know, I'm a strong black woman. I don't need no man. But that white woman who's a feminist is going home to her husband and her
Facts.
children.
Facts. Exactly. So this whole narrative needs to be dismantled and thrown away. I have been told that I've been, a strong black woman like my whole life, that, I'm bossy. And, I know that I come from a lineage of, I don't like to say strong, resilient black women and black men,
Yeah.
particularly black women, because like my mom is almost 70 years old, y'all. I be seeing her do some things like how this woman got all this energy to move this whole like furniture around. And I be like, damn, okay, she still, she still look good. She still be getting it. Same with like my great aunts, my aunts on my dad's side. Like, but at the same time, I have seen them in strong, healthy marriages and not dominating their husbands. You see what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times when people are like, well, you're a strong black woman, you have to be single. But you can also have a partnership or have, whatever you like to call it, your spouse, and not dominate him, but also know how to hold your own and be independent. But let's talk about the toxicity in that. When you are like, yeah, I'm this strong black woman, I don't need no man, you also, are more receptive to mental health illnesses.
Yes,
A
you are.
lot of strong black women have depression. Let's keep it a buck. They have depression, bipolar, some type of symptoms, and they're slowly aging quicker. Yeah, we always talk about black don't crack, but we're aging so quickly inside because we feel we have to do everything and take on the burdens on for everybody, and also be the work mule for white folks, especially white women.
Exactly, because see, here's the thing. White women only want black women around who are one, I'm gonna just keep it a buck, who are like not traditionally attractive.
Mhm.
Like, they love overweight, sassy black women around them.
Right.
Okay? And two, who are just gonna be, the guard dogs of feminist ideology, aka white supremacy.
Mhm.
So if you're gonna do one of those two things, then of course white women are gonna want you around because, they can control you.
Right.
And
For
if they
as Go
control you,
ahead.
I was gonna say if they can't control you, you're gonna be their entertainment.
Okay, I love when you said that. Man, this is like a dope show. For instance, I'm gonna give y'all two people and I'm gonna drop the mic. Oprah and Gail. Oprah and Gail do the work for white supremacy. Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
Oprah is the mammy.
Yeah, she is.
Remember back in the day, the Oprah show, and like I remember, she really didn't rock the boat when it came to like when it came to like race and stuff like that. Like Donahue was more like rocking the boat, had Farrakhan, other folks on his show. Oprah was pretty much appeasing the white woman audience who was the housewives, who
Yeah.
was, oh my God, this is how I learned about Martha Stewart because she came on at 3 o'clock. I know in Boston she came on at 3 o'clock. And she was like the mammy for them. Oh, Auntie O, because don't someone call her Auntie O? Oh, Auntie O, she from Mississippi, girl. She can whip up them pecan pies, and she
Yeah.
just remind me of my maid. And we forget, like, she does a lot of work for white supremacy. Like, she's been photographed with like Trump, Weinstein, all these pedos and all these nasty white toxic masculinity in Hollywood. She's been photographed with them, and she's like, she does their work.
That is very true. She's hugged up with these people because, see, they made her, so they own her. Okay, she is a marionette doll for white supremacy.
Right, exactly. And then it's like, a lot of them grew up with a nanny, and oh, nanny, and oh, what they call like their nanny, like Miss Ann or Miss Georgia. You can make them tater pies, and that's what Oprah and Gail, are. Cause look at the trickery, right? Remember what was it like a few months ago? Gail is like, doing this interview with R. Kelly, and then Oprah was trying to like really, bring down like Michael Jackson and the allegations. This man can't even defend himself. He's been dead for like 10 years.
Right.
I'm like, Gail, you can't. What about Weinstein? All these other people that that started this whole Me Too movement that's been like really, like sexually aggressive towards all these, women, and you're gonna get R. Kelly. You need to, interview a whole bunch of other people. And then I remember when they asked Gail, it was some white woman on her show. They was like, "Oh my God, Gail, was you offended? Was you afraid? Because I was so afraid he violated you in a violent way." And she's like, "Oh no, because I'm used to it." And I'm like, "Really, Gail? Really?" Like she was like, "Oh no," and I'm like, she had like this little white voice because they got to put on this voice,
Yeah, they.
and to make sure that they're not intimidated. And I was just like, this is a whole mess. But we have that. We have those women, and people love those black women because they're like, oh my God, like I'm gonna inspire to be them, and not knowing that they're doing the work for white supremacists.
Right. Like, here's the thing. Like, white women are taught from an early age how to not do work, how to get somebody else to do work for them, whether it be a white man or a black woman.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and see, like, here's the thing, like, the white supremacists, you might think, what, what's a white girl? Becky is my friend. She always comes over, and we always, we listen to Nipsey Hussle, and we listen to Nipsey Hussle, and we smoke a blunt, and we just have a good time. But no, see, Becky is over there to spread confusion to your mind. She's probably looking for some gutter sex, either from
Right.
you or from uh, another black male. But you notice she doesn't bring you around to where her men are.
Yes, because you haven't been to Becky's house. And that's for also black women. Have you been to your homegirl Becky's house? No, because you are not allowed to go over there because they have their feelings towards us, and it's loud and clear. Another thing I wanted to bring up too about the strong black woman narrative and being the work mule. Remember when what's that man's name here in Alabama? Doug Jones versus Roy Moore.
Lord.
I gotta laugh because I just have moved back, here, and these black women, I mean, had a big ass billboard on I-20 talking about we did it, we got Doug Jones in, honey. What? So y'all love being a work mule, not me. You're not gonna be breaking my back just to get him in, and he's not acknowledging you. You didn't get him no black agenda and say this is what this is what we demand from you, the tangibles. You're just like, oh, we gotta get good old liberal white Doug Jones in there because Roy Moore is just evil and
Oh,
not knowing they both related and they both in the same box.
yeah, I remember that. They was like, "Oh, Roy Moore, he a freak. He a pedo. We can't have none of that." But Doug Jones, he helped prosecute who blew up the Birmingham church. So
Right.
he's like us. No,
Oh,
sweetie,
and
that
don't forget he has a gay son. He has a gay son, so they have to cape for that too, because it's something about some black women and gay men they truly love.
and I don't understand because gay white men are minstrels of stereotypical satire black women,
Mhm. Exactly.
and that entertains them.
Right. Right. So, that's another toxic, behavior, being a black woman, being the work mule for Becky or Miss Ann, cuz like Nene said, they was trained to be like on the porch sipping sweet tea and eating Nanny's pie
Mm,
that your great grandmother, slaved over and picked the sweet potatoes from the field.
hmm
But we so want to like, still have this strong demeanor, and they're just always the damsel in distress. And once you like go off on them, guess what? What's the first thing they do? Cry.
Why? Because
You
they
intimidated me,
they
ma'am.
have weaponized tears,
Mmm.
and
Mmm.
is like when white women cry, that makes a lot of black people nervous subconsciously because historically we knows what it means when white women cry. That means somebody black about to die.
Mmm. Mhm. Mhm.
So I mean, all she knows all she has to do is like shrink up. You know how they try to make themselves smaller and their voices get all high because they're so afraid, and they shed a couple tears, and here comes the cavalry, the white men.
Right, exactly. Or another white woman. So, yeah, exactly. So, I remember working with, I don't know, I can't, with, for this white woman. And I remember she said she was so intimidated by me, y'all. She had to make a phone call to corporate, and one of the other social workers had to come down, and I never trust this white woman. I'm gonna tell y'all why. Because I had went to a conference with her. Thought she was down because she dated this black dude, and that was always a red flag for me. And I said, oh, and she had this Drake looking. Her son looked like Drake,
Ugh.
so she always thought she was down, and she would talk slang to me. And I'm like, okay, when have you ever hear me in a professional setting, speak slang? Because I'm not speaking it with you. So this whole situation happened. My supervisor said she was intimidated by me, and of course I was quote unquote insubordinate. Mind you, every day she was weaponizing me. How did you get your master's degree, ma'am? What? So one day
Same
I guess,
with yours.
yeah, no, she didn't have one. She didn't have a master's degree. So she called, like Nate said, the cavalry on me now. I'm like, I think at the time I was like 29, 30. And she started crying. So, homegirl, like I said, with the Drake sign, oh, see, Andrea, what you did, because you're so intimidating. You're not approachable. You made her cry. And so I said, okay, let me give you a list of grievances, what she did. Didn't care. So I said, all right, I'm out. I'm quitting. You can't do that. See, that's what they do too. They try to tell, because they think you're a slave. You can't do that. I'm not going to be your workhorse or your mule. See, and once you stand up for yourself, because a lot of us we don't, we just take it, and they think like, oh, who are you to talk to me that way? And see, now they don't got the whips, they can do other stuff. No, let me go ahead. I don't need this. So a lot of times, they try to intimidate us, and they always, try to weaponize something against us. But y'all, don't be intimidated. Don't be intimidated. I just have to throw that out there because I refuse to be a work mule for white folk. I'm not about to be carrying out y'all agenda. And a
Right.
lot of times they want that. They want you to carry out their agenda. I'm not going for that. I'm sorry. I'm not going for it at all. So,
Right. I mean, something else I really want to talk about. It happened over the last few days. I want to talk about the consequences of laying up with white people.
go.
Um,
Oh
there,
my God.
there was in Oxford, Mississippi recently, there was a black woman who was named Dominique Clayton, and she had a fetish for white police officers, white male police officers, and she would post all over her Facebook, Blue Lives Matter, and just pictures of white police officers with like kissy face emojis and heart eye emojis. And she got herself into an affair with a married zaddy, and she was going to expose their relationship, and he killed her,
Mm.
shot her while she was asleep.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And now her children are without a mother because she wanted to just get some gutter sex.
All you can do is just like take a deep breath on
And
that.
I just really wanna talk about that for a minute because like that just really blew my mind.
But that's once again is going back to like carrying out the agenda,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because let's tie it in together. When you are quote unquote considered a strong black woman, you're calling out toxic masculinity in black men. You're only opening yourselves up to accept white men. To me, that's my opinion, and they do gutter, grimy, indescribable stuff, to black women because they feel like, oh, she's strong physically, holistically, so we can do whatever. And you have those cases like that because you want zaddy.
Right. You sitting up here, you looking for Zaddy, and Zaddy just doesn't care about you because you're disposable to him. And
Right.
let's just tie it into another factor in this whole episode. The fact that our men, our warrior men who are not buck broken, are oftentimes in jail. So we're out here defenseless. And what happens if you're a victim in war? You take out the warrior class, and the women are the spoils of war.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have your black women with no defense against these race soldiers or police officers or thugs in blue,
Yeah.
and that's another case of toxic masculinity revolving black women and white police was that Daniel Holtzclaw situation.
Mm. Mhm.
For just a quick little rundown for people who don't remember or were unaware, Daniel Holtzclaw was a half white, half Asian, because see the white supremacists, white women aren't having babies like they used to, so they're getting these Asian women because they can still get a white-ish kid, and
Mhm.
and so they call them HAPAs, like that's honestly what they call them. But what happened with him was he was a police officer doing ghetto patrol, as what was said on his own mics, his own cameras. He called it ghetto patrol, and he was going up to these black women with, they might have had a little traffic warrant or a drug warrant, and he go up, he said, "Hey, crackhead, you want to come suck some white dick?" And
Mm.
that's literally, what he was saying. And see, on he was so stupid. He turned off the camera, but the microphone was still on. So he was sitting up here. He was asking all these black women who he was sexually sewering, like, "Oh, you like that white cock, don't you? You never had white cock." So see, here's the thing. Even these coalition people who you think are gonna hold your hands through it, they don't think of themselves as a minority when they can
Right.
function as a member of dominant society.
Hmm. Wow. That's so disgusting.
Yeah, like that was the situation. Who could go up to him? He's the police. A lot of black men are afraid of the police. Let's just keep it a buck.
Yeah, definitely.
And that just goes to show you, like, there are consequences to everything that we do. It's the butterfly effect.
Mhm.
Even if it doesn't affect you, it might go to your kids or your grandkids.
Right, exactly. But people don't think that because it could skip generations and come and get your ass or your folks.
Right.
So, wow, that's awful. And another thing I wanted to bring up since we're talking about that, and white zaddy and strong black woman carrying out the agenda is this whole y'all Uncle Joe. I have to bring up Uncle Joe again. Uncle Joe Biden. He got Simone Sanders, who I think she probably gonna date a zaddy, a white zaddy, carrying out the agenda, and have to hire all these black folks on his campaign. I think she was on CNN a few days ago, and a black man was challenging her about why do you want to be the campaign director, and Uncle Joe was actually the forefront person who was all about this crime bill.
Yep.
So he was all about, he was the super predator, before the super predators was even thought about. And
Hmm.
he was very adamant. Well, I have my mom is out here in these streets and she doesn't need to be knocked up beside her head by these animals and by these thugs. And so we know who's the animal and thugs, black men.
Hmm.
Then we have this whole black woman. So let's fast forward. Let's see, that was 94. This is 2019. We have this whole black woman. We look at her like her aesthetics, like, oh wow, sis got it. See, we can't go by symbolisms anymore, neither, right?
Right.
Sis is natural. She got this dope fade. Okay. Then you're like, hold up, what? You defending someone who probably got your brother, cousin, whoever incarcerated, get on his campaign and you can't even like defend yourself and say, nah, like you didn't read the whole thing. He didn't mean this. No, he meant what he said when it came to the crime bill. So we have, black, quote unquote, strong black women in those arenas who are carrying out white supremacist agendas politically. Now we're talking about stuff that's going to make us, our lives at stake. Now, mind you, if you're ADOS, if you're foundational black, we're trying to get reparations. We're fighting for that. We're fighting for just to get full citizenship in the United States. But you have folks like Simone that's like caping for white zaddy because she think I'm gonna get, I don't know what she thinks she's gonna get, more biscuits, more coins. I don't know, child, what you think you're gonna get by defending this man. So you have a lot of black women who, like I said, aesthetically look strong, but they're really carrying out a whole different agenda that you're like, damn, why would you even, be down with that?
It's all about black people. We don't look out for the community. It's all about looking out for number one. And so if it's not going to directly affect you or your parents or maybe even your children, it does. A lot of people don't care.
Right. A lot of people don't care. A lot of people don't care. Now, another thing I wanna say this too, is going back to how this whole thing works to white supremacy. Now, I give major props to what's the brother's name? Robert Smith,
Yeah.
who paid off the men of Morehouse student loans. Like, much respect, much love to that, much love for you doing work for, black Americans. But, and I know people getting very upset about this. Did y'all see who he's married to?
That haggard ex whore.
A former, was he a Playboy bunny or something? Y'all, I just have to put that out there. I just have to say that. Like, this person, if you violate her, so this is going back to toxic masculinity, right? Let's say he didn't have no money or he wasn't in the state of position he's in. Let's say he was just, passing by her in the streets of New York somewhere or Boston, whatever. Then, oh, he's toxic masculinity because he just looked at me the wrong way. That's how this stuff works from what I'm looking at. So we have to be very careful, who we choose as partnerships or twin flames or whatever you want to call it. Because people will have different agendas. Because I'm pretty sure he got shit for that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he got a lot of shit for that. And at the end of the day, something happened to him. Guess where the money's going back to? The white folks. To keep carrying on this agenda that we're talking about. But it's just very interesting about this whole toxic masculinity and femininity and this whole strong black woman. And I'm like, the way he was talking about his mom, like, damn. And that's another thing too. You come from this strong black woman. She, she birthed you in the world, but you go on the other side of the fence. I never get that.
Girl, it's some things you're not gonna understand. Like, no, seriously, I know a black male, um, who's in a sexual arrangement or a tragic arrangement, however you want to look at it, with a white female. And I asked him once, I was like, you know, like why you you talk all this stuff about, how a white man ain't shit, but why do you have a white woman? Well, she grew up ghetto. She watched TV sitting on the floor when she was growing up. I'm like, what that mean?
Right.
Most kids watch TV sitting on the floor. That's,
Wow.
nothing spectacular about that.
Yeah, it's nothing spectacular about that. But I'd rather for someone to be direct. That's my choice. That's who I want. Okay, bruh. Okay, sis. Cool. That's who you want. You go right ahead.
Yeah, but don't sit up here and talk about, well, my partner is separated from my politics. No, you sound dumb. Stop.
Right,
Just say,
exactly.
just say you sitting up there, you just love that little white cooch, or you love that little pink peen, and
Right. So
that,
just be honest with that. I just rather folks to be honest with that. Like it's not gonna hurt my feelings because that's the life you have to live. Because I have to live my own life. But don't try to make all these excuses saying, well, because I like WWE and sis don't like that. Nah, there's a lot of women that like wrestling. There's a
true,
lot of women that like sports. There's a
true.
lot of women that like stuff. No, you chose who you chose because you felt that it was gonna be an easy ride.
Right, and y'all be sitting up here, you having these children, they telling them you're black and this. Like, no, society only gonna see them as black. So you just
Right.
spreading confusion on your own little personal plantation.
One drop rule. Y'all forget
Right.
that. One drop rule.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so folks, go look up the one drop rule. If you got one drop of blood, this is not based off of what Nay and what Dre is saying. This is actual stated in United States policies, laws, and legislation that you are black. So all this whole you black and you white, nah, you need to take that up with your United States government. You go challenge that with them, and go do your Googles on that. But yeah, so you have that, but going back to we gotta go back to the Sean Black woman real quick. That's it's toxic behavior, and I hope one day we can dispel that. Um, because let's keep it. I want to keep it honest on my end, from my opinion. We need one another, and when I say we need one another, I'm talking about black men and black women.
Yeah.
This whole like, well, the brothers are toxic. Let me tell y'all something. I have some really dope dudes I probably met one time. I remember one time I was flying back to Atlanta. And I don't like flying. Even though I love traveling, I don't like flying. So this brother next to me was like, yo, I was traveling by myself and I was telling we had got a conversation and I was telling him I was like, I don't like flying. And I was like, I don't like the turbulence. He's like, me neither. So but he helped me down, y'all. I didn't know this dude from whatever, but he held me down and not he didn't try to sexualize me or be like aggressive or like, overpower me with his masculinity. Like he held me down, respected me, even though I wasn't his partner, his spouse. Just based off of having a conversation. I had a lot of black men like step up, whether it's like my homeboys or just like random black men step up if they saw me in the precarious situation,
Yeah.
and they didn't want nothing from me. So I can't really say, I know there's some toxic brothers out there, no doubt, but I can't really say as a whole, like black men are just toxic because I'm married to a black man, and that what would that say about me?
Yeah.
So I really, pick and choose to like not get in those debates because that's all you see now, but we don't call out the sisters. And like I said, we need the balance, and I think we forget about having a balance that we need one another. There's some warrior men out there that will hold you down if you are in some sticky situation, or you may be trying to, like today I'm trying to like load my car with mulch, and some dude jumped out the car like, oh, you need help? I'm like, go ahead, you load that other one in there, I'm tired, and it's like 90 degrees. And he didn't want nothing from me, so we have to like stop have your guard up, but don't just look at like, oh, this black man's about to rape and pillage me, because that's what y'all been programmed to think.
Just remember who did the program and who set up the computer.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, did we cover everything?
Yeah.
Man, we covered everything, everyone. So what is your final thoughts, words?
For me, I want to say that there's nothing wrong with being a strong black woman, but at the same time, you still gonna need a black male in your life. You don't have to be romantic with them or, sexual with them or anything, but you need masculine energy to, look at things from another perspective.
Mm, I like that. I like that. Yeah. Facts. Facts. So my final words of wisdom for today, I would definitely say is be able to have self inventory of self. Make sure you're not the toxic one. And this is for my sis. It's okay, if you're a resilient woman, black woman, that's cool. But don't try to over dominate or overpower your significant other or disrespect him, especially if he's not disrespecting you, especially in public. I hate that.
Yeah.
And also too, don't think because you're escaping blackness, and you're signing with a white feminist agenda, that your life is going to be like skipping through the lilies and valleys. No. Because when it comes down to it, you're on the menu.
Yeah.
You're on the menu with the people. So yeah, that's my final words of wisdom. um but as always, thank you all for, listening. Don't forget to subscribe to these urban social scientists on Apple Music, Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud. Like I get all tongue twisted, like, oh my gosh, we on all them. Don't forget to like us on the Urban Social Science page on Facebook.
Yep.
If you have any topics for a show, hit us up. Like we're open, as you guys know. We're not gonna like clutch our pearls, I don't think. So
No.
we're open. If you are a black business, black podcast, like we want to shout you out. So make sure like you hit us up, and we can definitely shout you out. All we ask for is for you all to share our, knowledge, our podcast to your audience. What else did I forget? Is that everything?
Yeah, that's everything.
All right. So as always, thank you all. Have a great rest of your day, week, and we are Audi 5000.
Later days.
Peace.